All your life, you have been told to chase happiness, to study hard so you can earn more, to earn more so you can buy more, to find love so you can feel complete. And yet, after all the running, how many times have you finally reached what you thought would make you happy, only to feel empty again? The cycle repeats: desire, achievement, joy, and then the inevitable fading of it all. Happiness feels like sand slipping through your fingers. The tighter you grasp, the quicker it disappears. But what if the goal was never happiness? What if happiness was only a fleeting guest, not the foundation of a fulfilled life? What if what you truly need is peace? Because happiness is temporary. It depends on the weather, the paycheck, the approval of others. Peace is different. Peace does not demand conditions. It does not vanish when things go wrong. Peace is steady, like the ground beneath your feet, like a river that continues to flow quietly even after storms. And when you find peace, you realize you were never missing happiness. It was simply waiting for calm soil to grow. Peace is not just better than happiness. Peace is freedom. Happiness is something we all crave, yet if you observe carefully, it is never permanent. It comes like a guest, stays for a short while, and then leaves without asking for permission. You feel happy when you get a promotion, but that feeling is soon replaced by new worries about responsibilities. You feel happy when you buy something new, but that excitement fades once the novelty wears off. Happiness is tied to conditions. When circumstances are good, it rises, and when they change, it disappears. Peace, however, is different. Peace is not bound to external conditions. It does not depend on whether the sky is clear or filled with storms. Peace is a state of being that remains steady regardless of what life throws at you. And this is why peace is more essential than happiness, because it can carry you through both the good and the bad without collapsing. You are not your thoughts. And think of happiness as the surface of the ocean. It reflects the sun when the sky is bright, but when the wind picks up, the waves turn restless and chaotic. Peace is the depth of that same ocean, still and unmoved even while storms rage above. You may smile less when you are at peace compared to when you are happy, but what you gain is far more valuable. A sense of calm that does not break with every change in weather. Many people spend their lives chasing highs, believing happiness is the goal. They run after achievements, possessions, recognition, relationships, hoping each will finally bring lasting joy. But the truth is, nothing external can provide permanent happiness because the external world is always changing. This is why so many feel trapped in an endless cycle. Achieve one thing, feel happy for a moment, then feel empty again and set another goal. But peace breaks this cycle. Peace says, I do not need everything outside me to be perfect in order to rest. I can rest now, even in imperfection. Real life stories show us this contrast clearly. Imagine two people going through the same struggle, say, a health issue. One feels devastated because their happiness was tied to their physical strength and their plans for the future. The other, while not immune to pain, still holds an inner calm. They accept the situation, they adapt, and they move forward with clarity. The difference between the two is not the presence or absence of happiness, but the presence or absence of peace. Even science has begun to show us this distinction. Positive psychology suggests that while happiness fluctuates with circumstances, inner peace is more closely tied to long-term well-being. People who cultivate peace through practices like mindfulness, meditation, prayer, or stillness report lower stress, better relationships, and greater resilience. This tells us something important. Happiness decorates life, but peace sustains it. When you recognize this difference, you begin to live differently. Instead of chasing every temporary high, you learn to anchor yourself within. You stop asking life to always make you happy and instead ask yourself, how can I remain grounded even when happiness fades? That question opens the door to freedom, because the moment you no longer depend on fleeting emotions, you discover the strength of being at peace. Peace is not the opposite of happiness. It is the soil from which happiness can grow. The mistake many make is believing that if they chase happiness directly, peace will follow. But look closely, and you will see it works the other way around. When you are at peace, happiness can arise naturally, like flowers blooming in a garden that has been cared for. But when you only chase happiness, often all you create is exhaustion, restlessness, and emptiness, because happiness without peace is like a flower cut from its roots. It looks beautiful for a moment, but it cannot last. We see this truth everywhere. Consider people who seem to have it all: the career, the house, the recognition. Outwardly they appear happy, but many struggle silently with anxiety, depression, or a deep sense of dissatisfaction. Their happiness is tied to appearances, achievements, or possessions, but because peace is missing, their joy is fragile. This is why we hear stories of celebrities, athletes, or even friends in our own circles who seem joyful in public but collapse in private. Happiness without peace is like a mask. It shows a smile but hides the storm. On the other hand, peace creates the conditions for real happiness. A person who is at peace does not need constant excitement or external validation. They can sit in silence and feel content. They can appreciate small joys, a cup of tea, a kind word, the warmth of the sun, because their mind is not restless, always demanding more. Their happiness is not explosive or dramatic, but it is steady, sustainable, and nourishing. Peace allows you to enjoy the highs of life without being enslaved by them, and it helps you carry the lows without being crushed by them. Think of peace as the roots of a tree and happiness as the leaves. Without strong roots, the leaves may appear green for a while, but they will wither quickly when storms come. With deep roots, however, the tree can endure seasons. The leaves fall, new ones grow, but the tree remains alive because its strength is grounded below the surface. In the same way, happiness will come and go in your life, but if peace is rooted deeply inside you, you will not be destroyed by the changing seasons. Science also affirms this. Studies on well-being show that people who cultivate inner calm through mindfulness or spiritual practices report higher life satisfaction over the long term, even if their external circumstances are not ideal. This suggests something important. Peace sustains happiness, but happiness alone cannot sustain peace. So when you find yourself longing for joy, do not chase it directly. Instead, look within and ask, am I at peace? Because once peace is present, joy will always find its way back to you, quietly and naturally, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. When life challenges you, happiness is often the first thing to vanish. One unexpected problem, one moment of loss, and the smile you wore yesterday can feel impossible to find today. But peace works differently. Peace is what allows you to stand in the middle of chaos and not lose yourself. It does not mean you feel no pain, nor does it mean you are untouched by difficulty. It means you respond differently. Peace is the steady ground beneath your feet when the world shakes, and this is why it matters more than happiness, because life will not always give you reasons to be happy, but peace gives you the strength to walk through those seasons without breaking. Imagine two people who face the same setback. Perhaps both lose their jobs unexpectedly. One spirals quickly into despair because their sense of happiness was tied to their title, their income, their status. Without it, they feel worthless. The other, while still facing the same pain and uncertainty, responds with calm determination. They accept what happened, reflect on their next steps, and move forward steadily. What makes the difference? It is not intelligence, wealth, or even optimism. It is peace. Peace transforms the way you carry suffering. This doesn't mean you don't cry or that you don't feel disappointment. Peace is not numbness. Instead, peace is like a container that holds your pain without letting it consume you. It is what allows you to say, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is hard, but I am more than this moment and I will endure. Without peace, suffering multiplies. With peace, suffering becomes manageable, even meaningful, because it teaches you resilience and growth. Think of a candle flame in the wind. Without a protective glass, the flame flickers and dies at the first strong gust. But with the glass surrounding it, the flame continues to burn steadily, no matter how hard the wind blows. Happiness is the flame, fragile in the face of life's storms. Peace is the glass. It protects, sustains, and allows the flame to survive. Even research confirms this. Studies on trauma and resilience show that people who cultivate inner calm, whether through mindfulness, prayer, or grounding practices, recover from setbacks faster and are less likely to develop long-term distress. They do not avoid hardship, but their response is steadier, their outlook more balanced. This is the quiet strength of peace. If happiness depends on circumstances, then the loss of those circumstances leaves you empty. But if peace depends only on the state of your inner world, then no external storm can steal it away. And with that peace, even during the hardest times, you can still breathe, still think clearly, still take the next step forward. Happiness may disappear in moments of suffering, but peace can remain, and sometimes it is peace alone that carries you until joy slowly finds its way back. When we speak of love and connection, many imagine happiness as the glue that binds people together. We say, I want someone who makes me happy. But if you have lived long enough, you know happiness between two people is not constant. There are disagreements, quiet seasons, and even moments of distance. If your bond relies only on happiness, then every conflict feels like the end. What sustains a relationship is not fleeting joy, but peace. Peace creates the kind of foundation where love can breathe without pressure. It is what allows two people to stay together not just when life is light, but when shadows appear. Peace in relationships means you no longer demand others to complete you. Many enter love hoping to find someone who will fill their emptiness, someone who will constantly make them feel happy. But this is a heavy burden to place on another person. No human being can make you happy all the time, and when they inevitably fail, disappointment sets in. With peace, the dynamic changes. You no longer cling to a partner as a source of constant happiness. Instead, you bring calmness, steadiness, and acceptance into the relationship. You stop asking, what can I get? And instead ask, what can we share? Think of two people sitting together in silence. If they are at peace, the silence is comforting, even nourishing. If they are restless, insecure, or dependent on constant stimulation, that same silence becomes unbearable. This small example shows how peace transforms the quality of love. You do not need constant laughter to feel close. You need the kind of presence that feels safe, even in stillness. We see this truth in families as well. A child does not thrive because the parent keeps them entertained every moment. The child thrives because the parent creates a sense of safety and stability. In that calm space, joy naturally emerges. The same is true for adult relationships. Peace provides the stability from which happiness can rise and fall freely, without fear that the bond will break. Studies in psychology support this. Research shows that emotional stability and a calm inner state predict longer-lasting relationships more than passion or excitement. Passion may ignite quickly, but it is peace expressed as patience, understanding, and emotional balance that keeps two people together through the years. This is why some couples seem to weather storms without losing each other, while others collapse under far smaller pressures. Peace is their anchor. When peace lives within you, you no longer need your partner to fix your moods or rescue you from emptiness. You come as a whole person, able to give rather than just take, and in that giving, love grows stronger. Relationships rooted in peace are not fragile. They do not depend on constant happiness, but on a deeper trust and steadiness. They are less about clinging tightly and more about walking side by side, free yet connected, steady yet alive. Peace has a way of aligning you with something far greater than fleeting joy. Happiness often keeps the attention focused inward. Am I getting what I want? Do I feel good right now? Is life giving me the experiences I desire? It becomes self-centered, and because life rarely delivers perfection, this pursuit easily leads to frustration. Peace, however, lifts you above this narrow view. When you are at peace, your vision expands. You are no longer consumed only by your own desires. Instead, you begin to see meaning, balance, and purpose in the bigger picture of life. Peace brings clarity. It helps you recognize that life is not only about constant pleasure, but about growth, contribution, and alignment with something higher. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly centered. Perhaps it was while walking in nature, watching the sky at sunset, or sitting quietly in meditation or prayer. In those moments, you were not asking for more. You were not bargaining with life, demanding happiness. You were simply present. And in that presence, you felt connected to something beyond yourself. That feeling was peace, and it gave you a sense of meaning that happiness alone never could. When peace becomes your anchor, even your actions change. Decisions are no longer made in desperation to feel good for a moment. They are guided by stability and long-term purpose. You begin to choose relationships not because they excite you temporarily, but because they align with your values. You pursue work not only for recognition, but because it contributes something valuable. You approach challenges not as threats to your happiness, but as opportunities to deepen your strength and wisdom. This kind of clarity is only born from peace. There are countless examples of people who embody this. Think of those who dedicate their lives to serving others: nurses, teachers, spiritual leaders, caregivers. They are not always happy. In fact, their days are often filled with struggle, exhaustion, and sacrifice. And yet many radiate a deep sense of fulfillment. Their peace comes from knowing their life has meaning, that what they do matters. Happiness may come and go, but purpose sustains them. Peace and purpose walk hand in hand. Even modern research echoes this truth. Studies on well-being show that people who live with a sense of meaning report greater long-term satisfaction than those who chase pleasure alone. Happiness peaks and crashes, but meaning gives life a continuous thread, a direction that carries you forward. And meaning can only be seen clearly when the mind is calm, when peace has settled the noise. So when you cultivate peace, you no longer need life to always entertain you with happiness. You begin to move with intention, with balance, with alignment. You discover that true fulfillment is not found in chasing one high after another, but in walking a path that feels steady, purposeful, and real. Peace does not distract you from life, it roots you in it, guiding you toward the deeper purpose that happiness alone could never reveal. If you look deeply at life, you will see that what most people chase is not what they truly need. We are taught to run after happiness, to collect moments of pleasure, to believe that joy is the ultimate goal. But happiness is like a shadow. It moves when the light shifts. It cannot be held, and it cannot be forced to stay. Peace, however, is different. Peace is not a moment. It is not dependent on circumstances. Peace is a way of being, and when you discover peace, you find that you no longer have to chase happiness, because happiness begins to rise naturally, like ripples forming on still water. The truth is, life will not always give you reasons to smile. There will be loss, uncertainty, and pain. If your foundation is happiness, you will feel shaken each time it disappears. But if your foundation is peace, you can carry both joy and sorrow with balance. You will no longer demand life to be perfect in order to feel whole. You will no longer rely on others to complete you. You will no longer rely on others to complete you. You will no longer measure your worth by fleeting highs. Instead, you will walk steadily, calmly, rooted. Peace is not passive. It does not mean withdrawing from life or avoiding its challenges. Peace is strength. Peace is clarity. Peace is the anchor that keeps you grounded when storms come, and the light that guides you toward meaning when the path feels unclear. Peace is what allows you to love without clinging, to work without burning out, and to live without being consumed by endless desires. So ask yourself not, am I happy, but am I at peace? Because happiness will come and go, but peace, once cultivated, will stay. And when you hold peace within you, you will discover that you already have everything you need to face this life, not with fear, but with calmness, presence, and quiet strength.